Hey folks, it's Mr. Vitale. This week in PE, for those of you that have seen the video, our main focus is on our tossing and catching skills and following that, tracking that ball or that object with your eyes and then giving with those hands and catching it. With that lesson, we used a sock ball, or some of you might have had a beanbag or another type of a ball. I wanted to do just kind of an alternative lesson that continues to focus on tossing and catching, but with a variety of different things that you might have, or in one case you might be able to make around your house. So let me take you just through a quick little lesson here. You can pause this video anytime to continue or to get something and come back to it, but I'm just going to kind of move through a few of these things, and maybe this would encourage you to work on your tossing and catching in a different type manner. Anyways, we'll start with that ball real quick. We talked about the toss being a smooth movement, not a jerky one. So up, smooth. And then as that object's coming down, moving your hands at the same speed, giving with it, just like that. We can go right to left, left to right. We go a little higher, and a little bit more side to side. Can add a little bit of moving too, as we're tracking that object coming down out of the sky. Now, what else could we play catch with? A beanbag. Beanbags are great because they have a little bit more of a give to it than what a ball would. So you do the same type of activities with a beanbag. But how about this? Some of you might have seen these devices before. And for a really young boy or girl that's having trouble catching, this is a great way to kind of get your eyes to follow, because it has Velcro, it fits on your hand, and it sticks. So you don't even have to use two hands. When that ball comes, it just sticks, and you can start just by yourself. And you could get into tossing it back and forth with somebody. Actually, you can work on even throwing it back and forth. So it's kind of like a baseball glove, except it's quite easier. And it really, like I said, it really helps with those eyes following that object. Now, if you don't have one of these, here's something you can make. Look what I did. It's almost the same thing. It doesn't have Velcro though. So, how do you make it first? Well, it's a paper plate. In fact, you need two paper plates, because the other one that's back here, you cut a strip of the other paper plate, and then if you can see, I just stapled it. And then that's where my hand goes. Now, if I try to catch it the way that I did that last time, it's going to roll right off. It's not going to work. So what do we have to do? You have to use the second hand. Look at that. And if I was a baseball player, look at how quick I can get that ball out of this pad or this plate. Just like that. I'm still following with my eyes. I'm still giving with it, but right as it's touching, I'm taking it right off. Do some of the same things you did with that softball. If you're in the backyard, you could really chuck it up there and see if you could still catch it with those two hands. Now, you have a baseball glove. Now, a baseball glove, very similar to that. The only difference is it can open and close. So as it comes to you, catch it like that. Now, a lot of people say, use two hands. Okay, I can use two hands if I want. Tell you what though, a lot of the baseball players I coach, many times we want them to be an athlete, we want them to catch it with one hand. Because there's many times we can be doing something athletically, like running and trying to catch, rather than reaching. Well, I can't run very well if I'm reaching with both hands. But if I'm running with one, I can reach and I can catch that ball. So there's a lot of things. Even fielding a ground ball, sometimes we teach them to come through it with one hand, then get it with the other one. Now, if you have a wall, it kind of becomes wall ball. Working on catching. You can toss it up high, toss it a little lower. If I had space, I could even throw it low. Like maybe here I can on the ground. Now I can work on catching it on the ground. It's still tossing and it's still catching. Woo. That was a bad toss. All right, now let's just focus on tossing. Some of you have that game called cornhole. I have my own made-up one. It's a couple pieces of wood. It's got a hole in the center. I've got my 3 beanbags. And there's no catching involved. It's tossing. When you toss, just as if you were playing the game of horseshoes, it's a smooth movement. It's not a quick, exaggerated, quick flick. So, if I was playing, I'm going to toss toward that hole. All right. Now, tossing and catching. 3 objects. What's this called? You know what it's called. It's called juggling. And it's tossing and catching. The only difference is we have 1, 2, 3 objects instead of 1. In a couple weeks, we're going to work on it. But you know how we start? We start with 1. Then we go to 2. Then we finally move to the 3rd one. So just a few different tossing and catching activities. You can add bouncing if you want. So if I had a ball that bounces, and catch. Toss it up, let it bounce, catch. Toss it up, let it bounce, catch. I bet, because you guys have such great imaginations, I bet there are many more activities that you could come up with that focus on the skills that we're working on this week. Your ability to toss, your ability to catch, your ability to follow that ball wherever, that object, wherever it goes, and then receive it with those hands. Hope you enjoyed that. Okay, I'll look forward to seeing you guys next week, and we'll have a brand new lesson then too. Okay?